Crying easily is not weakness, and psychology has the proof. The people who cry most often, most deeply, most openly, are frequently operating at a level of emotional intelligence that most people around them will never fully understand. This video is going to show you exactly why, and by the end, the way you see sensitive people will never be quite the same. Emotional sensitivity gets misread from the very beginning. From childhood, the message arrives early, and it arrives clearly. Control yourself. Stay composed. Don't cry. A parent's sharp look. A teacher's impatient correction. A peer's laugh on the playground. Toughen up. Stop being so sensitive. Don't let them see you like that. And that message doesn't pass through us. It plants. Most people spend decades carrying a buried belief that visible emotion is personal failure, that tears are something to hide, manage, or apologize for. But what about the children who couldn't switch it off? The ones who felt so completely, so deeply, that tears arrived before they could think to stop them. They grew up being told something was wrong with them. Psychology disagrees entirely. Highly sensitive people are not fragile. Research psychologist Dr. Elaine Aron introduced a concept in the 1990s that permanently reframed how science understands emotional sensitivity. She called it the highly sensitive person trait, not a disorder, not a diagnosis, a documented, measurable neurological difference in how certain brains are built to process the world. Approximately 15 to 20% of the population carries this trait. Their brains don't simply register emotional information. They absorb it, process it deeper, hold it longer, respond to it more completely than the average nervous system ever does. These are not broken people. These are people running a more powerful emotional processing system than most of us have access to. Brain science explains exactly what's happening inside them. For the average person, emotional signals come in, get processed, and fade. A moving film scene, a stranger's pain, a piece of music that almost reaches something. It registers, it passes. For someone with high emotional sensitivity, that same signal doesn't dissolve the same way. Neuroimaging research has found that highly sensitive individuals show significantly stronger activation in brain regions connected to empathy, awareness, and deep emotional processing, particularly the insula and the mirror neuron system. Their brains are not malfunctioning. They are more responsive. This is why a small, unexpected act of human kindness, a stranger's quiet generosity, a friend remembering something minor you mentioned months ago, can bring tears to a sensitive person's eyes before they've even consciously registered what they're feeling. It is not performance. It is not manipulation. It is a nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, picking up emotional signal at a frequency most people simply never tune into. Emotional awareness in sensitive people runs at a completely different resolution. Because of that heightened reception, they notice what others miss entirely. The subtle shift in someone's voice before they claim to be fine. The smile that reaches the mouth but stops well short of the eyes. The moment a room's emotional energy changes before anyone else has registered the shift. They read emotional subtext the way others read plain text. Automatically, involuntarily, constantly. So when they cry in a moment that leaves everyone else completely unbothered, they are not losing control. They are responding to something real that the rest of the room hasn't detected yet. Empathy in these individuals is not a feeling. It's a physical experience. There is a specific experience that highly empathic people know better than almost anyone else. It has nothing to do with their own pain. It is watching someone else suffer and feeling it arrive inside their own chest as if it belongs to them. Not as metaphor, physically, a tightness, a weight, eyes filling before any conscious decision to feel anything has been made. Psychologists call this empathic resonance. It is the neurological process by which we don't just understand another person's emotional state, we mirror it internally. In highly empathic individuals, that mirror is extraordinarily precise. A stranger breaking down in a public space, a difficult news story, a friend holding themselves together across a table from you. For someone wired this way, these are not distant observations. They are experiences that arrive fully and immediately, and it creates something almost nobody acknowledges openly. They are not just managing their own emotional world. They are quietly absorbing and carrying pieces of everyone else's too. Emotional exhaustion in sensitive people is real, and it's misunderstood. This is why emotionally sensitive people often feel completely drained after social situations that others leave feeling energized. They weren't just present in the room. They were tuned into every emotional undercurrent moving through it. Their tears in those moments are not self-pity. They are evidence, proof that they were paying attention at a depth most people never access. But that level of empathic awareness carries a genuine cost. Emotional rumination is what sets them apart from everyone else. For most people, an emotion rises, peaks, and eventually dissolves. Hours, maybe a day, and it releases. For people who cry easily, that is rarely the complete story. They replay conversations at midnight. They lie awake revisiting the look on someone's face. They return to a moment from years ago and feel a real echo of the original emotion move through them again. This is not drama. This is not a choice. Psychologists call it emotional rumination. And in highly sensitive people, it operates almost like a reflex. The widespread misunderstanding is that they feel more emotions than other people. That is not quite right. What is closer to the truth is that they feel emotions for longer. The signal doesn't pass through. It processes deeply, slowly, completely. And because of that, they frequently arrive at insights about people and situations that others, who moved on quickly, never reach. History's most influential artists, writers, and thinkers frequently describe themselves as deeply sensitive people. The same neurological wiring that made them cry at things others dismissed also made them see further into human experience than most people were willing to look. Emotional depth is not comfortable. It is, however, generative. The science of crying reveals something most people have never been told. For a long time, crying was understood simply as a social signal, a learned behavior to communicate distress. More recent neuroscience tells a more layered story. Emotional tears, distinct from basic ocular lubrication, carry a measurably different chemical profile. They contain elevated concentrations of stress hormones, including cortisol, which means crying may be one of the ways the body physically expels the biochemical residue of emotional stress. After a genuine cry, most people describe something specific, a sense of release, pressure easing, something that had been coiled tight finally settling. That is not coincidence. That may be the nervous system completing a regulatory cycle it genuinely needed to finish. For people who cry easily, this process occurs more frequently. Their systems accumulate emotional load faster. The release mechanism activates more often, not as instability, as maintenance. A pressure valve that functions correctly is not a sign that a system is broken. It is a sign the system is working. The person who cries when they need to is not falling apart. They are regulating. Emotional intelligence in sensitive people shows up where it matters most. And here is the part that almost never enters the conversation. People who cry easily are frequently exceptional at the things that matter most in human connection. They don't manufacture compassion. It is already present, deeply, consistently, often at personal cost. They tend to be genuinely extraordinary listeners, not because they learned a technique, but because they are actually present to what another person is experiencing beneath the surface of their words. They carry higher levels of emotional self-awareness. They know what they feel, and they have spent years building the vocabulary to name it, because for them, that was never optional. And they possess something increasingly rare. They have not closed themselves off. They have not built emotional armor over the parts of themselves that still feel things. They remain open to the full weight of human experience. The beauty, the grief, the small and unexpected tenderness of ordinary moments. That is not weakness wearing the wrong label. That is emotional courage. The quiet kind, the kind most people privately wish they had more of. Emotional strength looks nothing like what we were taught. Here is the question worth sitting with. What if the most resilient person in any room is not the one who never flinches, who has mastered the appearance of being unmoved, who has perfected the performance of feeling nothing? What if the most resilient person in the room is the one who still allows themselves to feel, who hasn't traded their sensitivity for social approval, who chose, consciously or not, to remain genuinely connected to what being human actually feels like? What if feeling deeply isn't the opposite of strength? What if it is the strength? People who cry easily have been misread their entire lives, told they're fragile, told to harden, told that something fundamental about them needs correction. But what psychology actually shows is this. Crying easily signals deep feeling, genuine activated empathy, emotional awareness running at a resolution most people never experience, and an unbroken connection to the full texture of human experience. That is not something to manage or fix. That is something to understand. If this changed how you see emotionally sensitive people, even slightly, subscribe for more that reveal what most of us walk right past every day. and leave a comment. Do you believe crying easily is fragility, or is it a form of emotional strength most of us deeply underestimate?